What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to talk about the two most probable outcomes for Tesla, what's going on with the overall market very briefly. I'm going to break down how the charts are looking for Nvda, Apple, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and then talk about why on earth we have to be very prepared for some new volatility trends to come to the markets. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends in just about 10 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with Tesla. So one thing worth mentioning, guys, is we know Tesla's going to likely see some major upside towards the end of the year thanks to the Cybertruck and etc. And I do believe Tesla will be breaking $300 before the year ends. Okay, so there is still bullish outcomes for the end of the year. We're not talking about a market crash or anything like this when we talk about the downside. However, historically, during the final 2 weeks of September going into October, the market does tend to sell off. And I do believe this could lead to some downside for Tesla, as Tesla's going to likely get dragged down. So there's a risk of downside for Tesla that could be coming quite soon, especially because we are developing a bearish divergence. However, here's the thing about it. We might not start selling off immediately. We could see Tesla attempt to rebound first just a little bit before we do start to sell off in downtrend. And we're going to be watching this for tomorrow, see how this thing tries to rebound, how strong does Tesla look. And then there is a risk of downside based off the bearish divergence developing and other factors like this. Now, there are two possibilities which I think are very probable. It's going to depend on FOMC, of course, but there's a chance that Tesla could try to break out one more time and try to retest this 280 area because Tesla has some high relative strength compared to the market, right? But even if we do break the high, right? I'm just showing you guys this chart. I know it's small for some people, but I'm just doing this just to show you the divergences. That's why I'm zooming out so much. But I'm just trying to let you know we have a bearish divergence right now. So if we do break to the upside and hit 280, for example, if this bearish divergence remains, we could be establishing a double or even a triple bearish divergence, which would lead to a bigger sell-off to the downside. Why would Tesla sell off? Well, it's not temporarily because of Tesla in a way. It has more to do with like the market cycles that dictate the markets, the current trend right now, the FOMC meeting, what the Fed says, all these different factors could still have a big effect on Tesla. That's why it's very important that we are prepared for what could be coming. Now, Tesla could be forming kind of like a bull flag right here, trying to push up a little bit higher one last time. So we're going to be watching to see if this thing can make an attempt to push up towards this 280 area. And then we're going to be watching to see if it rejects or not. There is a chance of it rejecting because the market may be a little flimsy. And we're going to be watching how big of a rebound is this. Is it going to be like a small rebound where we establish like a head and shoulders and then we start selling off? Or is it going to be like a bigger rebound to establish a triple bearish divergence? It's got to be one of those two most likely. And this could lead to more downside. 266 is going to be a very key level for Tesla. If Tesla breaks that support, there's going to be a risk of it falling all the way down towards this trend line into the lower 260s. If that breaks, we have this gap support at this 256 level, not to mention this unfilled gap towards the 250 area. There is a risk of downside, but before we talk about the downside, we might see Tesla pop a little bit first. Could try to hold up temporarily for a few days before it starts to sink. I want to warn everyone about this, especially going into tomorrow. So watch for a pop and a rebound tomorrow because the market may try to do this in sync, right? As long as there's no like super bad news for like the market and Tesla, that's very probable as to what's likely going to come. Now, I just wanted to mention that for the way the market is going to likely move, when we look at SPY, it actually hit this critical support right about here. Now, in doing so, we have this important demand zone right here. We have this liquidity, which could be attempted to be grabbed by these institutions. And we're going to be watching this zone act as a pivot level. So right here, we hit this support at 442 and SPY bounced off of it in the past. We just hit this on Friday. There may be an attempt to bounce and retest this 444 to 445 area, but it may be very flimsy. It may not be a very strong uptrend or anything like that because overall, this is looking bearish to me. Overall, it's still bearish. Could there be an attempt to bounce a little bit? Yes, we could try to bounce a little bit, but we're going to be watching this 444 zone to 445. Could we go a little higher? I mean, we could go a tiny bit higher, but then it's all going to come down to FOMC and etc. And there is a higher risk than before of the market starting to sell off after getting this very bearish looking candle from Friday. So there could be more downside coming later on during the later days of this week as well towards this 440 area, if not 436. If 440 breaks, then we're likely going to see 436 being tested, by the way. That's going to be the next critical support. So we're going to be watching this all very carefully. Watch for a back test first tomorrow, so a small rebound towards 444 at the very least. And we're going to see how it tries to hold. It may be very weak nonetheless, so be prepared for that as the market is starting to shift, especially as money is starting to leave tech, at least to some extent. For Nvidia, look for a little rebound. This thing may try to rebound just a little bit, try to make its way back up to this 442 area, if not 445. Those are all potential targets for Nvidia to try to rebound towards. But the overall trend is looking bearish, right? We're still on a nice downtrend. So even if it rebounds a little bit, this thing could be once again flush with more selling during the later days of this week, if not as soon as like Wednesday, depending on FOMC. And that could drag Nvidia all the way down to this 425 zone, all the way right here, which is where we had this pivot right here. So we could see Nvidia head towards this 425 zone all the way down there later on. It likely will make its way down there. It may bounce a little bit first, just get a small bounce first before this thing starts to sell off over the next few days. That is very probable for Nvidia. For Apple stock, it may make an attempt to rebound as well as it's at this support, and it just hit this 175 area. But overall, we have this head and shoulders like pattern that is developed on it and hasn't fully played out to hit its full measured move. There could be a rebound to this 176.5 area, then a rejection, and Apple could sell off towards 171 to finish this head and shoulders. That could happen later on during the week, this like bigger sell off. And for now, the market may make an attempt to rebound, so Apple could try to retest 176.5, and we'll have to see how it holds or not. It may not hold too well. It all depends on different factors. The QQQ is at support right now at this 370 zone. We got a bounce off this 370 to about 368 area in the past. So we're going to be watching how does the QQQ react to this support, and we should try to see an attempt to like rebound just a little bit and retest this previous resistance right here becoming this previous support becoming resistance at this 372.75 area. So watch for this thing to rebound towards 372. Look for a little bounce before this thing starts to continue selling off potentially, but it should try to bounce a little bit off this support, trying to retest 372, and then we'll see if it holds or not. If we get a big rejection, then we could be sinking towards 368, if not even lower levels during the later days of the week. So something like this is what I'm talking about, like us coming into this zone maybe during the pre-market and trying to push up like this when we open, and it may not break out too much, maybe very very weak, start slowing down. And then with the FOMC meeting, I'm not promising anything about Jerome Powell. We'll see what Powell causes, but there is a risk of it potentially selling off even lower as time goes on because of how bearish this candle looks from a technical standpoint, right? There is a risk of more selling to come, this thing dropping towards like the mid 360s, if not 361 in the future. Before it happens, it could rebound just a tiny bit, and we're just going to watch and see what Jerome Powell and the others cause. So that's going to be very important. Just want to make this as clear as possible based off technicals. Tesla looks like it could be flipping soon. We do have a bearish divergence developing on it. So we're going to be watching this thing potentially sell off soon. But before the sell off comes to Tesla, this thing could try to continue to hold up temporarily, could try to bounce tomorrow with the markets. It could even try to break that high at 278. We could try to break that. But if we do break it, do not turn into a perma bull on Tesla because the bearish divergence is still developing. If it breaks out, this could develop into a triple bearish divergence leading to more downside in the future. Okay, there's a risk. Is it Tesla's fault? As of right now, there wasn't really any like really negative news that came out to Tesla at the time I'm recording this. It's not really Tesla's fault. It's just the overall market affecting it. There was no real bad news that came out for Friday for it to close kind of red. Most of the news was quite decent. It closed this way because of the market and its algorithms dictating the way it moved. And the algorithms are in sync amongst many different stocks, from SPY to the QQQ and Apple, and the list goes on. So hopefully this really quick video was helpful, guys. I can't record about other tickers for now. I will talk more about them for tomorrow when it comes to like the VIX and Meta and Amazon. I just need to end the video from here because I'm going to be very busy for today. I want the best for everyone, so I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you all so much. Enjoy some football and do what you have to do, and I will see you guys very soon for the next video. Thank you, and peace out.